Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and technically doing a Toon deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Toon Blackluster Soldier. This card is an extremely powerful boss monster that has the ability that it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must be first special summoned from your hand, by attributing Toon monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal 8 or more, meaning this card is super easy to summon out to your side of the field. Also, while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monster, this card can attack your opponent directly, which all of our Toon monsters share that awesome common effect. But this card also has a broken ability that once per turn, if you control a Toon World, you can actually target a card on the field and banish it, but this card cannot attack the turn you activated that effect. We then play 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. Toon Dark Magician is an amazing 3 of in the build because this card helps us instantly bring Toon monsters to our side of the field directly from our deck, as this card lets us actually discard a Toon card to be able to special summon a Toon monster from our deck except a copy of Toon Dark Magician, ignoring its summoning conditions, or we get to add a Toon spell or trap from our deck to our hand. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Red Eyes Toon Dragon is a really good 2 of in the build because this card has the ability that if this card's on your side of the field, once per turn you can special summon a Toon monster from your hand except another copy of this card, ignoring its summoning conditions. Plus this card is super easy to bring out to our side of the field using the Black Stone of Legend. We then play 2 copies of Toon Harpy Lady. Toon Harpy Lady is great as an extender in the build because this card has an awesome effect that if this card is in your hand and you control a copy of Toon World, you can special summon this card in the hand. Then if you control another Toon monster, you can destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls, which is a great effect just to help you pop your opponent's back row. We then play 3 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. Black Stone of Legend is really good as a 3 of in the build, as you can actually tribute this card to special summon out Red Eyes Toon Dragon directly from your deck, getting our plays rolling. We then play 3 copies of Cashier of Fenrir. Fenrir is really good as a 3 of in the build because this card is actually a level 7 monster, meaning it makes it super easy to make rank 7 plays in this deck using this card plus your copy of Toon Dark Magician or Red Eyes Toon Dragon. This card can also search out additional copies of itself directly from your deck to your hand and can also help you spot remove cards off the field. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. Lava Golem is great because you usually want to go second in this deck, so this card is awesome to basically just tribute 2 of your opponent's monsters on their side of the field and hand them a copy of Lava Golem because we can actually easily take this card back using Comic Hand. We then play 3 copies of Molcharmy Fluros. Fluros is great in this build just to help us dig into the deck for the exact cards that we need. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is great in this deck as a 1 of to basically just use this card to search out Toon Kingdom. We then play 2 copies of Comic Hand. Comic Hand is absolutely insane, as this card actually lets us take control of one of our opponent's monsters by equipping this card to it, and it becomes a Toon monster, meaning it can attack your opponent directly, which is so broken. We then play 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. Toon Table of Contents is basically like the Roto for the deck, because this card lets you add a Toon card or a copy of Mangariran from your deck to your hand. And this card is not a once per turn, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Toon Bookmark. Toon Bookmark is 3 more copies of Rhoda in this deck. So this card lets you add a Toon World or a card that specifically lists Toon World in its text from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Bookmark. And if a Toon World you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can manage this card from the grave instead, which is a great effect to help us protect our copy of Toon Kingdom. We then play 3 copies of Toon Kingdom. Toon Kingdom is definitely a 3 of in the build, and this card has a really cool ability. When this card is activated, you banish the top 3 cards of your deck face down, and this card's name becomes Toon World while it's in the field spell zone, and your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects, and if a Toon monster you control would be destroyed by battle by card effect, you banish the top card of your deck face down for each of those monsters that you're trying to protect, which is so cool to give us some protection for our Toon monsters. We then play 3 copies of Toon Page Flip. Toon Page Flip is actually insane because if you control a Toon world, you can actually reveal 3 Toon monsters with different names in your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one of them for you to special summon, ignoring its summoning conditions. Also, you shovel the rest back in the deck, which is great to reveal your copy of Red Eyes, Dark Magician, and the Blackluster Soldier to instantly bring out a boss monster to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Extravagance is really good in this build because we really don't need the extract all that much in this deck, so this card is basically a free draw too. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing one, and that's going to be a single copy of Toon Terror. Toon Terror is really good as a 1-of in the build because when a spell or trap card or a monster effect is activated, while you control a copy of Toon World and a Toon monster, you can negate the activation to destroy that card, but you can only activate one of this card per turn. This card is basically the Infernity Barrier of the deck and a really cool 1-of in this build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a bunch of 2 and 3-ofs in the extra deck, as we are playing an extravagance build, but it's super easy to make rank 7s in this deck, so we're playing a bunch of those. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This card is great as a 3-of in the build because every time your opponent breathes, you're going to take 500 points of damage, which is awesome to be able to do, especially since all of our Toon monsters can attack directly, meaning this card can help you close out games after you go into the battle phase. You can simply make this card and then close out a game with this card's burn damage effect. This card is really cool as well because it cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has an Exi material, and also it has an insane ability just to be able to do that burn damage, which is so cool because every time your opponent activates a card effect, they take 500 points of damage. We then play 2 copies of Big Eye. Big Eye is great in this deck as a 2-of just to take control of your opponent's monsters, and it's great in this deck. We then play a single copy of Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. Dark Armed is really cool as a 1-of in the build because you basically go into your battle phase and attack, and then during the main phase 2, you can make this card to be able to actually detach materials on this card to pop cards on the field, which is really cool. And the reason you always want to go into the main phase 2 to make this card is because after you actually activate this card's effect, you cannot attack with this card, which is a little bit of a downside about this card, but it helps a lot to help you pop cards on the field. We then play 2 copies of Bagooska. Bagooska is great in this deck as a 2-of because our copy of Fluros is actually a level 4 monster, meaning we can use our hand traps in this deck to be able to stab into a copy of Bagooska to shut down the board. Because you can actually use Toon Harpy Lady plus a copy of Fluros to make this card, which is really cool. Just throw this card in defense just in case you have to go first, which is really neat. We then play 2 copies of Typhon. Typhon is great as a 2-of in the build to basically use this card as a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters, plus it's a bounce in this deck, which is so cool to be able to do. And it's also a really cool card to basically play in every single deck because this card helps out a lot as a really cool toolbox option. We then play 2 copies of Zeus. Zeus is definitely a 2-of in the build, just always board wipe the field. And this card helps out a lot in this build because we play so many different Xyzs in this deck to basically just help you summon out this card to your side of the field and board wipe the field just in case you need to. It's very rare that you actually summon this card out, but it does come up every so often, but you never want to summon this card out to your side of the field if you already have Toon Kingdom on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Cyber / Harpy Lady. Cyber / Harpy Lady is great in the deck as a 2-of because this card helps out a lot in the deck. You don't even have to use a tuner to make this card. You can actually use 2 copies of the Toon Harpy Lady to make this card. As for this card Synchro Summon, you can actually treat a Harpy monster you control as a tuner, and this card's name becomes Harpy Lady while it's on the field or in the graveyard. Also, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, except during the damage step, quick effect, you can target a monster your opponent controls or a Harpy monster you control and return it back to the hand, and you'll use effect this card once per turn. But this card is great to basically use this card as a bounce in the deck, and it's super easy to make. And lay a single copy of Relinquished Anima. Relinquished Anima is so cool because it's actually one of Pegasus's cards to be able to play in this deck, and you can basically just normal summon out the Black Stone of Legend to your side of the field to be able to summon out this card and gobble up an opponent's monster, which is super cool to be able to do. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this deck. It's super fun to be able to play. It's so nostalgic. And definitely comment down below what monster you would like to actually see turned into a Toon monster. I would like to see Gaia the Fierce Knight, which is one of my favorite old school cards. It'd be super cool to actually see Gaia turned into a Toon monster. It'd be just super cool to actually see. So definitely comment down below what monster you guys would like to see turned into a Toon monster. So, that's the end of this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.